Hello ladies and gents, and welcome to the Island of Rob. This week is going to be a bit of a blast from the past because I've been asked by a few people on our social media account and through YouTube that they're looking to start their journeys but they really don't know where to start. Now obviously if you go back and you look at the stuttery early versions of Island of Rob and the first few videos I put out, I do talk about a lot of stuff that is really useful, and I do actually say how I've done it. But it's not the most engaging material, and I don't really give a step-by-step guide of how I did it. So these series of videos are effectively going to be my weight loss 2.0, kind of how I got here and how you can get there if you want to give it a go. So this week will be obviously week one of my how to lose weight the island way, and it's really important that you realize how these kind of things work, and it also does go back to the original videos I put out because it is still the exact same way I explained back then that I'm going to be explaining now. And the most important thing to realize when you're starting on your weight loss journey the island way is it's all about your percentages. I go into this in a lot greater detail in my old videos. If you want to go and see cringy me, go and watch it. But the percentages I talk about is it really is 60%. I'm really hoping I get the percentages the same as I did from the old videos. One of you hardcore fans can go back and check and tell me if I got it wrong. But it is 60% in the kitchen. If you don't get your food right, you're not going to lose weight. And you can kill yourself in the gym and maybe lose some weight for a time, but it's not sustainable. So 60% in the kitchen, sorting out your diet, sorting out the food that you're taking in, and 30% willpower. Because willpower really is one of the most crucial things in there, because it's one of the things that can kill a diet. If you just decide 3-4 days into it, bad enough, can't be bothered. That's it, that's your diet dead. That's your weight loss done. I'm not saying you can't have a lapse. Lapses and messing up are very important parts of your diet. I haven't got to where I am, which is 7.5 stone down, without having multiple times where I have messed up my diet or I've had a bad week or things like that. That is gonna happen, but you have to be prepared for it and have the willpower to get back on the wagon once you've done. Now, so you've got your 30% willpower, and the last one obviously is 10% in the gym. And when I say in the gym, I mean exercise, I mean movement and burning calories. Because a lot of people say, oh, well, I'm going to have to join the gym. You don't have to join the gym. That can be really expensive. It can make, again, the diet seem a lot less interesting. You don't have to spend a lot of money to get started on your weight loss journey, especially if you have managed to gain quite a lot of extra timber. You'll be surprised just what changing your diet can do for you. And that's what this week's about. This week is all about how to build your diet into something that's sustainable and better for you. Now, the second we get into dieting of your percentages, this section, this week's crucial key point, we're going to get into something where some people will moan, and I'll explain why you shouldn't. The way I track my food intake and the way that you keep a good log of things is by putting it in a calorie counting app. Now, a lot of people say I can't calorie count because I'll get obsessed with it and things like that. Well, you just have to work your way around it. You have to find a way where you can log what you're taking in, because if you try and diet without logging what you're taking in, it's like trying to drive a car at the speed limit without a speedo. You're just guessing. You're shoving stuff out there and you're thinking that's probably about right. Now, I don't know about you guys, but when I was at my worst, I didn't feel like I had that bad a diet. I was like, well, I do eat a bit, but not that bad. I can't possibly have got to this just by what I was eating. But looking back at it now, I most definitely was. I had a body composition check when I was at one of my worst points, and I worked out that I was taking in probably 5,500 to 6,000 calories a day just to sustain the weight I was keeping on. And that is scary as hell, because it didn't feel like I was taking on that amount of calories. But the thing is, in today's society, so many of the things that we take as commonplace and simple little things are terrible for you. Bad food is so readily available and so easy to pick up. You need to make a log of this stuff, because if you put it on an app, you straight away see, wow, that's bad. And I'm not even saying you need to cut carbs, you need to cut sugars and things like that. And just for the record, I don't really agree with cutting carbs. I believe in a balanced diet. This is what I'm building towards. I am trying to cut out sugars and things, but balance is key. But that's not for this week. For you guys, get yourself a calorie counting app. The one I use and the one that I find to be most honest and to have a really good community is one of the best apps out there for this, with one of the worst names, and that is Fat Secret. Yeah, I know. Yeah, it's not fantastic to type into your search bar. But Fat Secret is a really, really good app you can have on your phone. You can also get MyFitnessPal, you can also get the Fitbit app. There are loads of them out there, and they're free, so there's no excuse not to get one. So, you best be watching this and being on the Google Play Store right now, going, oh, Fat Secret, it's downloading. Don't worry, I'll wait. Not for too long, but I'll wait. Okay, good. While that's installing, we can carry on. Because you can fill out all your information on these apps, and that'll calculate your RDI, your recommended daily intake of calories. But for now, what we're trying to build, the Island Way, is all about making something sustainable, making something that you can stick to. Because most of these diets, you feel really good about it for the first week. However, the second week of eating just cabbage and going running every single day, you feel terrible and your bathroom feels worse. This is about making something that you can just slip to, and it just very quickly becomes part of your life and your daily routine. And my diet really does. The app, it will feel awkward as hell for the first week or so, but once you get there, you realise you start eating the same kind of stuff, and it's there in the recently eaten, or you can save meals. And now, when I eat a dinner, I'll just flick on the app, click, save. That's literally the amount of time I have to put into it every meal time, and that helps me track what I'm taking in. In terms of your recommended daily intake, I just kept it simple. I set mine at 2,500 calories. That's not a small amount of food, that's a good amount of food. And if I wanted to eat bad, if I wanted to have a large Domino's pizza for breakfast and some kale for tea, I could do, as long as I kept those numbers in and right. It's all about just making something you can stick to, and something that you do stick to, that you're honest about. If you start not bothering putting stuff in your calorie counter, it's pointless even filling it in. And this is the important thing. If you get into the habit and the mindset straight away, I have to put everything I can in here, it'll help you. It'll become one of your best health aids, because you'll go, oh, I'm going to have that cookie. Or I've got to put it in my app. Do I really need that cookie? And sometimes you'll decide, yes I do. It'll put me over my calories, but not too much. I'm going to have that cookie. Or some days you'll go, no, I'm feeling alright. Don't need it today. And that's the difference. Without any of that, you go, oh, I'll just have a cookie. And sometimes you'll even forget you've eaten it and have more. So your body doesn't need it, you don't need it, You're just taking it on because you haven't got a record, you haven't remembered, and you can't see the effects. So 2,500 I had, they recommend 2,000 for women, but it all depends on your size. Now, I'm quite a big guy, so my actual RDI actually worked out to somewhere closer to 3,200, but I was really focused on weight loss, and at the time I was in a quite sedimentary job. And this is the other thing, it's all different for everyone. Your calories have got to reflect your amount of activity, and on these apps you can record your amount of activity, so you can see the amount of calories you're burning in the day, the amount of calories you're taking in on the day, and with those two bits of information you can figure out where you want to be. Because the aim for this is you want to try and have a deficit, so you want to have more activity than food by 500 calories. Now that's not a big thing. You don't want to go, oh, I've had 6 pieces of bread. You don't want to say, oh, I've had 2 bowls of kale and an egg, and I've been running twice. I've got 2,500 calories down. Now and then, sometimes you will have a bit more of a loss than the 500. And sometimes you'll have less of a loss than a 500. But that 500 is a good aiming benchmark, because if you do that over the course of the week, that should add up to about 1 to 2 pounds of weight lost in that week. And that's what you want to aim for. You don't want to try and shoot for the moon and go for 9 pounds of weight loss a week, because that can cause more issues than it actually helps, because that can cause issues. That can cause like baggy skin and things like that, and it's not viewed on as healthy. But I digress. So get your app, fill it out honestly, eat what you want, but make sure it's within that calorie bracket. Once you get that down, you can start tweaking your diet and changing out sugary snacks for healthier things. And I'm not saying it's going to happen over a week. What I'm saying is, I've been doing this over 3 years, and I'm still tweaking my diet and changing things out, but it's gradual. And because of that, it doesn't feel irksome and painful. I just go like, oh, I'll trade that out. Well, that's quite nice. That fits quite well. That's not a pain for me to go and sort out. I'll keep doing that. And it becomes a lifestyle, not a diet. And that is the 110% most important thing. You have to be able to sustain this, because on these other diets you will trade it out, you will crash diet, you will lose a load of weight, you get sick of it, and put it all back on again. And that is the key, guys. Make those little changes, chip away at it, and you'll go from that big old block of stone to something closer to a masterpiece. You get there, guys. As I said on one of my painfully motivational photos on our Facebook page, every mountain ever climbed started with one simple step forward. And that is really true, guys. So your simple step forward, sort out the app that's now installed on your phone, fill out the information, start logging those calories. And once you've got that down, I will see you next week for the next episode of How to Lose Weight the Island Way. Now remember, guys, steadily but surely, you are going to crush this, guys. Take care of yourselves. I'll see you next week, and be your own island.